I'm just a dad that likes to cook, and I'm making my go-to, what are we going to eat tonight when I haven't figured out supper meal. So anyways, my name is Sepp Spritzma. I live in Pomerene, Arizona. I've been living in this area for about 26, 27 years. Both my kids went through all of the Benson schools from preschool all the way to high school graduation. My wife, Lisa, and I both teach part-time at Cochise College, GED program. She teaches math and I teach the social studies and science. And then my full-time gig in Cochise County is with the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. And I work on an initiative called Building Healthy Communities. And I work countywide, mostly with schools, with districts and schools, helping them develop and institute school health policy that improves the health of students and teachers and administrators on their school campuses. And so tonight I'm just here as a community member. I'm not really here representing the university or anything. I'm just Sepp because Najaya asked me to, and she helps with every project known to mankind in Benson. And I feel like when Najaya asks, then you better do something and follow up with that. So. Very basic recipe. It's so simple. If you just Google it, you'll find it instantaneously. There's probably 1,000 variations. And this is just a super basic zucchini, tomato, onion, egg, cheese frittata. And I make it all the time because it's got tons of veg in it. It's got protein. It's easy to make. And my kids have always eaten it. My wife always eats it. I love to eat it. In some weeks I might make this 4 times in 1 week. Like I might make it for breakfast. I might make it for dinner. I might have bacon with it. I might have ham. I might have avocados. It's such a simple recipe that it's my go-to when I'm not sure what to have for dinner or breakfast, and it's super easy to cook. So we did a little. Turn that into soup later. That's all the leftover veg pieces. So just green onions. I just chopped off the end sections. I'm going to chop these other pieces up a little finer and sprinkle them on top of the frittata for eating time. Some red onion, some zucchini, eggs, in this case little cherry tomatoes. I got a little butter, some olive oil, salt and pepper, a little bit of cheese. So this stuff is from Safeway. And when I bought it today, I think it was like $12. And this is probably enough to make 4 or 5 meals, so it's really can spread quite a long ways. So it's pretty inexpensive. When I'm cooking, I usually will do a little bit of butter and olive oil. Butter kind of for the flavor, olive oil for helping the butter not to burn, and also just a little bit healthier. So I don't use a ton of butter, like that much for a pan. That's like a little stick there. I might put a little bit more in. Let's see how that looks as it gets done. And man, this is probably just the most simple thing you could ever imagine, because I'm just going to basically melt some butter, put in a little bit of olive oil, saute the vegetables, get them cooked, get the flavors mixed together, mix up some eggs, pour them on top, sprinkle a little bit of cheese on there, let it cook, and then eat it. That's it. That's all I do. So the butter's melting here. Going. I'm going to toss in a little bit of olive oil, maybe like a tablespoon or so. Get that going. Let that heat up a little bit. So that's kind of heating up in there. I'm trying to get that nice, and so I'll get a little sizzle on the vegetables. I'm going to dump in. I'm going to do 2 batches, one to start with, and I'll get the other one started, and so there's plenty enough for people to eat. But I'm just going to take the red onion. I just sliced it in long slices. I love red onion, so I didn't chop it up too fine because I really like the flavor. I'm just going to kind of break that up, put it in there. I'll toss in half of my zucchini. Get that going in there. Put in half of my green onions. Get those going in there. Get a nice sizzle. So I'm just going to kind of stir fry it and break up the onions and brown up the zucchini. And this is all dependent on how much flavor you want. You can cook it a little bit longer and really get those flavors to mix up, or you can cook it for a shorter amount of time and have kind of a greater crunch, like a little more fresh. Spread the eggs out a little bit to get them to be a little more material. But I'm just going to do just straight up eggs. I think I'll do like 6 eggs per pan because it's kind of a big pan. But like if you're making this at home, and there's just one of you, you can do just a little pan and 1 egg. Scramble them a little bit. But yeah, if you put in a half a cup of milk here, you double that, and you can make an even larger kind of amount of food. So start seeing these zucchini getting a nice little brown on them from the butter and the olive oil, and the onions are starting to kind of get a little bit softer. It feels like it's getting pretty ready for me to pour on the eggs. And if I was doing this with like bacon or ham or sausage, I probably would use very little or no butter or olive oil, because the fat from the bacon and the sausage would be more than enough oil for the pan. But in this case, since I'm doing all veg, have a little more olive oil on there. So those are looking pretty good. Not too wilted. Nice aroma coming out of them. So I think I'm going to go ahead and throw a little salt and pepper on top. You can put the salt and pepper in on top of the eggs, but I always feel like if you put it in while on something that's cooking, it will distribute the flavor a little bit more into that food. Get a little more taste going. Here's my 6 eggs. Just going to pour those on top. Let that start cooking up. I halved a few of these tomatoes. I'm just going to sprinkle these on. Adds a little color, a little extra tastiness. Again, if you like fresh veg, you could chop up your tomatoes and kind of sprinkle them on after you're done cooking, and it almost makes like a little fresh salsa. There's a few tomatoes on there. So I'm going to put a pretty good amount of Parmesan on top, sprinkle it kind of all over. Pretty much if you aren't sure what something's going to taste like, you just put a lot of cheese on it and then it tastes good. I'm going to turn this down to a little bit of a lower flavor. Like it was on high. I'm just going to put it down like on 2 here. And the next step is I'm going to just throw a lid on top so it kind of will cook through, and leave it be for 10 minutes or so, and it'll be done.